Good day, Baseball Card Collecting Nation. This is Chris from Big 3 PC, and today's video will be my very first Mail Day edition. As always, you can reach me on YouTube, Insta, Twitter, Facebook, and you can always reach me by email. Now, my vision for Mail Day videos is to share the newest additions to my PC with all of you, while conducting a bit of a deeper dive on the players I collect along the way. I will also explore the rarity of the cards that I have bought by using PSA and BGS population report data. I'm adding high-end cards to the collection fairly regularly, so I expect to be making lots of these Mail Day videos, and my hope is that they generate some good discussion. I would love to know what people think about the players I collect and the specific cards that I choose to add. I'd also love to know if folks think that I managed to get a great deal. I'd also want to hear if people think I got hosed. As long as we're talking ball cards, I'm all ears. So for today's Mail Day, we will look at these two beauties that arrived recently to my mailbox. On the left, a 2010 Josh Donaldson Bowman Chrome First Auto, blue refractor parallel to 150. On the right, a 2000 Topps Chrome traded Miguel Cabrera rookie card. Let's begin with the surefire Hall of Famer, Miguel Cabrera. A bit about the man. Cabrera won a World Series in his rookie year with the Marlins. He was the cleanup hitter as a rookie, and he produced well throughout the playoffs, but had no bigger moment than his two-run bomb off of Roger Clemens and the Yankees in Game 4, which helped even the series at 2-2. The Marlins ended up winning in 6, and it was a pretty epic playoff run for the young rookie. Along the way in his illustrious career, he picked up back-to-back MVPs in 2012 and 13. 2012, you may or may not remember, but that's the year he beat out some hotshot rookie named Mike Trout, and then, of course, he beat him out again the next year. Fun fact, the only other folks to beat out Mike Trout for an MVP, at least so far, are Jose Altuve, Mookie Betts, and of course, Josh Donaldson. Could change in a few days. I'm recording this just before they release the 2019 MVP winners. Another distinguishing feat for Miguel Cabrera in his career was winning a Triple Crown. He did that in his MVP season of 2012 with a .330 batting average, 44 home runs, and 149 RBIs. If you look at his career stats, they're pretty Hall of Fame worthy. I mean, they're pretty amazing. The 70 WAR, or almost 70 WAR, is impressive, but then you look at the fact that he almost has 500 homers, he almost has 3,000 hits, he's got the ridiculous career batting average of .315, he's got the ridiculous career OPS of .935, and an absolutely ridiculous career OPS plus of .148. Typically, 3,000 hits or 500 home runs pretty much guarantees Hall of Fame admission, unless you're somebody who's strongly suspected of using PEDs, of course. Miguel Cabrera is knocking on the door of both of those achievements, which is amazing because only 6 players have actually achieved both in their career. Those players, Willie Mays, Eddie Murray, Hank Aaron, A-Rod, Rafael Palmeiro, and Albert Pujols. If you're wondering about Barry Bonds, he finished just about 65 hits shy of 3,000, but with 162.8 career WAR and 762 homers, who needs 3,000 hits? So with Cabrera being 36 years old and just 185 hits and 23 home runs away from being number 7 on this incredible club, what is not to love? Well, in brackets to the right of his statistics, his career statistics, I've listed his 2019 statistics. And if you take a peek at those, you're going to see that with Miguel Cabrera, the decline is real, and it's unfortunate. He had 0 WAR this year, which essentially means he's a replacement level player now. His OPS of 744 would be mediocre for a starting middle infielder, let alone a very slow full-time DH. And his OPS plus of 96 suggests that he is now a slightly below average hitter, maybe. The only good news out of the 2019 campaign is that he actually managed to get to the plate 550 times, as opposed to 2018 when he only got there 157. So all this is to say that I'm collecting Miguel because of the Hall of Fame career he has had to date. Now that I own this card, I'm definitely rooting hard for him to get to those historic milestones. But will it happen? I don't know. If he can have a similar season in 2020 as he did in 2019, I do know that that will set the stage for a potentially very exciting 2021 as he closes in on 500 homers and 3,000 hits. Okay, let's talk a bit less about the man and more about the card. That's what we're here for. First, know this. Figuring out what is what in this hobby can be very tricky. And these two cards that I've highlighted today, they demonstrate this. So let's consider the following timeline. Miguel Cabrera signs as an international free agent in 1999 when he's 16 years old. The next year, 2000, he's playing for the Marlins in one of their lowest level minor league affiliates in the Gulf Coast League. This is below A-ball, people. Miguel doesn't reach the majors until 2003. Now, he's still very young when he gets there. But here's the thing. In 2000, when he's down in the Gulf Coast League, a league that very few people ever even make it to the majors from, ever, they released 3 cards for him. And 2 of them get labeled as his rookie card. So there's this version, which is the Topps Chrome traded version, which is basically just the chromic version of the other rookie card they printed that year, which is the Topps traded version. And then they also released a first autograph card for him in 2000. This is very unusual for a player to have a rookie card released 3 years before they make it to the majors, and they have subsequently changed the rules for what can actually be considered a rookie card, but back in 2000 it seems like anything went. So all this is to say that the hobby requires a fair bit of research, my friends, and that is, in part anyways, what I'm here for. Or at least to help you know where to look and how to find the information for yourselves. So we have a true rarity here. We have a card that actually doubles as his first, or one of his first prospect cards, and his rookie card. And he's a future Hall of Famer, so I think that's a very cool combination. Put those facts together with the rarity of this card, which we'll get into now, and you'll see why this was a must-have for any collection, I think. Okay, first, a note on rarity. So all base cards, even today, are mass-produced. They're not mass-produced the way they were in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but they're still making 100,000 plus, probably, of most of these cards. And so if you want to add some scarcity to the collection, we've talked about this before, you got to target graded cards, gem mint cards. So when I'm trying to value a gem mint card, the first thing I want to know is how rare is it in that graded form. This Gem Mint Cabrera card had sales in the $350 to $450 Canadian range over the last 3 to 4 months. So before I make an investment like that, I need to be reassured that this is a sufficiently rare rookie card. If that price point is a little high, and it is, obviously, just know that the other version of this card, the Topps traded version, the non-chrome version, sells for about 1/3 of the price in a gem mint form. Those are selling in the $130 to $150 range, and would be a very reasonable add to anybody's collection who watches this and wants to get in on the Miguel Cabrera, or get on the Miguel Cabrera train. So let's look at the population report of the gem mint versions of this card. Over to PSA, he has 574 PSA 10s, like this one. That's total. And at BGS, Beckett, he has 509 9.5 graded cards and 13 10 graded cards. Now all of these would be considered gem mint. So when you total it all up, he's got just shy of 1,100 gem mint rookie cards in the Topps Chrome traded version. That is a rare card, my friends. When you compare that to other really important rookie cards in the hobby, like the 2011 Topps Update Mike Trout, that has almost 5,000 gem mint graded versions from PSA and Beckett. If you think about the 1986 Topps traded Barry Bonds rookie card, that has over 4,000 gem mint cards. So yeah, this is rare by comparison, no doubt about it. I think the main reason it's so rare is because it's been known, at least this set anyways, to have a lot of centering issues. So many of the cards coming right out of the packs were so off-center that they didn't stand a chance at being graded gem mint. When you add in the fact that this is his prospect card and his rookie card combined, it's a beauty, people. So that's why I added it. All right, enough MC love for now. Let's get on to JD. Full disclaimer, and this is where we'll start with Josh Donaldson. If JD wasn't a Blue Jays legend, I'm probably not a collector of his cards. Meaning I'm probably overlooking Josh Donaldson the way I feel like the majority of the industry is doing. And why is he being overlooked? Well, I can only kind of guess, but like most card collectors, I myself like players who accumulate statistics, win big awards, wear World Series rings, and who are on a clear Hall of Fame path, preferably at a young age. That does not exactly describe JD. You got to remember, JD's rookie season came when he was 26 and he only played 75 games. Because of that late start, he's not accumulated the MLB statistics typically needed to garner Hall of Fame consideration. Consider that at 33, he barely has half the hits and home runs as his buddy Edwin Encarnacion. Eddie has over 1,800 hits and 414 homers. And even Eddie isn't garnering any true Hall of Fame consideration. Add in the fact that JD has never even made it to, or let alone won, a World Series, and I guess I can start to see why he falls short of most collectors' wish list. But here's what most collectors might not realize about JD or might just be overlooking. One, he's an MVP. As mentioned, only 4 players so far have beat out Mike Trout for an MVP, and JD's one of them. The other 3 are legends, and they're almost certainly going to be Hall of Famers. I think that means something. His stats in 2015 when he won the MVP were excellent, but he really got the edge on Trout that year because of how clutch he was down the stretch in leading the Blue Jays to their first their first playoff appearance in decades. Number 2, his career WAR is impressive. It's sitting at almost 45. I should also mention, these stats are baseball reference. WAR is calculated differently in different places, so if you see differences, that's why. But that career WAR of nearly 45, and coming off a year where he had 6.1 WAR in Atlanta, this is significant because generally speaking, you're going to need about 65 to 70 WAR to be a realistic candidate for the Hall of Fame. Now, JD's 33. If he can put together 4 more 5 WAR seasons, or just play at a 3 to 4 WAR pace into his late 30s, he will get to the mid 60s WAR. And know who else had a mid 60s WAR? Blue Jays legend Roberto Alomar, also a Hall of Famer. He finished with 67.1. And how about the guy on the right here, Miguel Cabrera? He's just sitting in the high 60s right now, and he's considered a no-doubt Hall of Fame lock. So what I'm saying is, JD's Hall of Fame chances are not as dead as they appear, despite the fact that the typical accumulation milestones like 500 homers and 3,000 hits are definitely not within his reach in this career or this lifetime. But JD stays healthy for another 4 to 6 years and reaches that mid-60s WAR target, he could be someone who's worthy of at least consideration. And how could he not be? He'd be sitting right there with many other Hall of Famers in terms of WAR, plus he'd have an MVP that he snatched from perhaps the greatest of all-time player, Mike Trout. For those wondering, Encarnacion only has 35 WAR in his career. JD has almost half the homers and half the hits as Eddie, but like 30% higher career WAR. And if you're wondering why, it's because of his awesome defense. Baseball card collectors, like myself, we might not care too much about D, but the folks who calculate WAR do, and the folks who vote for the Hall of Fame certainly do. So I am increasingly thinking JD has an outside shot. Now, the odds are still long. So for me, I'm primarily collecting him because he is a Jays legend. But unlike the rest of the industry, I'm not sleeping on the bringer of rain, playing late into his 30s and making some Hall of Fame noise. And if he does, watch those card values skyrocket. Okay, enough about all that and what I think. Let's get to the card. Now, remember when I said that this was a confusing hobby and you needed to do research? Let's consider the stark differences between JD's early cards and Miguel's early cards. JD's drafted 48th overall by the Cubs in 2007, so he's a second-round pick. Most first and second-round draft picks get a Bowman prospect card within a year of being drafted. Not JD. I mean, he did get some early prospect cards, and I'll highlight one later on, but for some reason he doesn't get his Bowman first prospect card until 2010, which coincidentally turned out to be his rookie season. This is all really hard to understand sometimes. His Bowman first prospect card comes out in his rookie season, despite being a high draft pick, and just months later in the same calendar year, all of his rookie cards come out. Topps Chrome, Topps Update, Bowman Chrome, they're all there in the same calendar year with his prospect card. Weird. Anyways, what does it all mean? It means that this is not his first actual prospect card. They were released as early as 2000, but it is his Bowman Chrome first prospect card. And it's got the autograph on it. And that makes it super special within the industry. For a lot of us, kind of including myself, for the most part, we can ignore any prospect card released before the Bowman Chrome first. That's me anyways. Now, aesthetically, I definitely prefer my Blue Jays cards in blue, so when the price is reasonable, that's my go-to parallel, which is why I chose this card specifically. And you know what's blue? Well, it's got obviously the blue border. But like all blue cards released by Bowman, they only made 150 of this. And that is part of the appeal. Blue border for your Blue Jays with a nice amount of scarcity baked in. You'll potentially remember, if you watched the video where I introduced my personal collection, that my Bo Bichette is blue as well. Now, reasonable price and blue parallel Vlad Juniors, they just don't exist, so don't expect to see any of those in my mailbox anytime soon. Okay, so we're talking rarity. Like with Miguel, let's get into the population reports. To me, like the Cabrera, the rarity of this Donaldson card in gem mint form more than makes up for the fact that this is not his first prospect card, nor his first autograph card. This is a rare card, people. They probably made about 3,000 to 3,500 of this card with the auto on it. So same picture, a bunch of them will have a different border, but they'll have the auto on it. Roughly 2,500 will be the base looking card, about 500 will be a refractor, about 150 will be blue border, about 50 will be gold border, about 25 orange, 5 red, and 1 superfractor that nor me, nor you, none of us will probably ever lay our eyes on ever in our life. From population reports at PSA and BGS, you could see that to date, there are less than 100 of this card in gem mint condition. Not just this blue border card, but any of the 3,500 Josh Donaldson Bowman Chrome first autos. That is a low amount. The number is 98. There's 10 that were graded PSA 10 by PSA, obviously, and there's 88 that were graded 9.5 or 10 by BGS. If you narrow your search down even further, and you say you're only going to consider the blue bordered cards or better, so blue, gold, orange, red, or superfractor, there's only 35 in gem mint condition. In fact, there's only 18 of these blue border ones in gem mint condition out there, period. That makes this a really rare and really important JD card, in my opinion. And surprisingly, it's relatively affordable. This blue to 150 that I bought was $325 shipped. Is that too much? Fine. His BGS 9.5 refractor sold in September for $231, and his base gem mints are selling in the $135 range. Price is Canadian, always Canadian on this show anyways. So because of this relative affordability, I'm not ruling out another 1 or 2 of these over the years to enhance my JD collection. Remember, Vlad's Bowman Chrome first blue autos right now are going to be thousands of dollars. Bo Bichettes are right up in that range as well, or at least, almost $1,000. They spiked well over $1,000 when he came up. So to get a Jays legend who's won an MVP and is still going strong in the 135 to 325 range, and just sign me up. All right, so that's about these 2 cards. Now, where am I headed next for these 2 players? Because I'm not done. You guys know what I want. I want the rookies, I want the prospect card, I want the first auto. So for Miguel, I managed to get 2 of those in one. I got his first prospect card and I got his best rookie card in gem mint form in one package, which is why I was willing to splurge on it. But I'd still like that first auto, and there it is. 2000 TTA 40 Topps Traded autograph. The good news is, sweet looking card. The bad news is, it's rare and it's expensive. Gem mint form for this card, about $2,000 Canadian. And why? Well, he's a future Hall of Famer, and like the JD, there's less than 100 gem mint graded cards of that Miguel Cabrera auto in circulation. 81 to be exact. 20 of them are PSA 10 and 61 are BGS 9.5 or greater. So, needless to say, this card is sweet, but because of its exorbitant cost, it will be lingering on my watch list for a long time. Now, as far as JD is concerned, First, as crazy as it sounds, and I already mentioned this, I want more of these Bowman Chrome First Autos because I love the price point and I love the scarcity. So if I can find a gem mint refractor, maybe in that 150 range, or a base in the 100 range, let's say the price is softened a bit, I'm going to be awfully tempted to start working towards a rainbow of colors for this card. And I should also note, this is like probably the worst time to be buying Josh Donaldson cards. I mean, he just came off a 6.1 WAR season after looking like he was basically done as a major leaguer. So if ever his cards were popping and hitting new valuations, it would be right now. And this is probably not the time to buy. But they just still seem super cheap to me, and I'm not going to let that deter me. Because if he has another big season next year, people are going to start to take notice. Now, as much as I love this prospect card, obviously, he's got some rookie cards out there, and he has an autograph card that was actually released 3 years before this one. So my interest is piqued in those cards. In terms of his rookies, the one pictured here is his 2010 Topps Update rookie, number 172. If you've been following along these videos, you'll know that players have multiple rookie cards, like he's got Topps Chrome and Bowman Chrome. But for me, I do prefer flagship rookie cards, which means Series 1, 2, or Update. So for JD, I'm looking for that Topps Update 2010. And because his cards are pretty cheap, I'm hunting for one of his parallels. In 2010, they made 2010 gold parallels, like the one listed there. But then they only made 2 other parallels, which are super hard to find. One is black, which they made 50 of, black bordered card, and one is a silk bordered card, which they also only made 50 of. So probably just gonna be hunting down a gem mint version of that gold card, and when I do find it, I'm gonna pounce. Now, as far as the first autograph card that I mentioned, Don Ross made 500 of these in 2007. I think they also had some shorter print ones too, because I'm pretty sure I saw red to 50 out there. But something to know, this is not a premium product. Don Ross does not have the MLB license, so you won't find any MLB logos on their cards, at least nowadays, or even in 2007. And the autograph itself is basically the worst kind of an autograph for baseball cards, because they just had them sign 500 stickers, and those are then placed onto the card afterwards. This is not a true on-card auto. So this is all reflected in the price. You can find these ungraded for about 25 bucks. I haven't seen a sold in the last 4 months or so for a gem mint variety. This is a listing that I took a picture of here, but they can't be too expensive. So, not a premium product, but there's only 500 of these. It's a pretty cool action shot of them, and the price is right, so I'm going to go after it. All right, that basically wraps things up. I really hope that you enjoyed watching my first mail day video. I do plan to have a lot of these along the way. Please feel free to comment below or to reach out to me on social media to discuss these purchases. As you can see, I love to talk ball cards. As always, thank you for watching and allowing me to help you build a PC for your big 3.